believe it or not, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. We were going to do this piece to camera outside because it's a beautiful day, and then the second we started filming they fired up the crane, which is fine, they've got a job to do, so it's noisy out there. Right, we're back at the boat. Hello.
Hello.
Jack's downstairs. Shout hello, Jack.
Hiya. He's doing some work on Kenya.
He's doing schoolwork on Kenya. So the situation is the shot blasting is all done bar one tiny little bit, which is great, thanks to the lads in the yard for that. There's just the other side of the lifting keel to do. So Melissa's going to start painting, finish painting from what she did last week. I'm not going to start the repairs to the keel box because I'm waiting for Nigel to come back to help me with that, because I think it's critical that I get his help with that. Yeah. But what I am going to do is tick off another item off the list, which is finish, or hopefully finish, the inside of the chain locker that I mostly did last year. So up here on this side of the screen you'll be able to see our list of essential jobs just to get the boat afloat. If you remember from a couple of weeks ago, we've trimmed down this huge list into an essential to float list just to get the boat in the water, and finishing the chain locker is one of those. So Melissa's working on the underneath painting, I'm working in the chain locker.
Yeah. And then I'll do something else afterwards, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get those two jobs finished and moved on to something else in this episode, but you're going to have to watch to find out that. So come and have a look at the chain locker, so you can see what I'm talking about. One torch. Okay, so again, here is the inside of the chain locker that I started last year. There's two huge patches. Now, that patch on the left hand side, port side, I've already welded all the way around. This patch on the right, starboard side, I've got to weld all the way around. I've got these stringers to repair, and that will be it. Then we can prep and paint the inside of this and finish painting the outside. But as I've previously said, we can't paint the outside of the top sides of the boat until this welding is done, because this will burn off a certain amount of paint. Let me show you those patches from the outside, and I'll also show you what Melissa's going to be doing. So here's the blasting that's all been done. I've been over again with the ultrasonic metal thickness tester, and the base plate of the keel isn't too bad. It's a little bit thin in places, but as you know, we've got some guidelines about how much is acceptable. That is our swing keel, which is now all painted and beautiful and just needs to be flipped over and shot blasted the other side. They've finished blasting these bits at the front, which is where the blocks were, and we're propped up nicely. All of this angle iron, which is terribly dusty, is all shot blasted and painted. These plates here are the plates to cover the keel box. They're blasted so they can be painted, and this here, these are the plates that I'm talking about from the inside of the chain locker. That one on the starboard side, port side, is done, but I've got a patch here to cut out, which has rotted through where one of the stringers was, and same on the other side. This is fine, it's all welded on the outside. I need to weld this one on the inside, which will burn off some of the paint, but that's okay. And then, as you can see, I left that to cut out in case anybody wondered about why on earth I was blobbing weld on there. So that piece, the other piece, and weld on the inside, and we're good to go. I'm going to cut these out first because it'll give me more light in there to work with as well. Yes, I do fit in the anchor locker, in the chain locker. And I found another little patch that I need to do. Welcome to my humble abode. So there was a stringer here which I've cut out. There's another stringer here, which I knew the stringer was okay up to about here, but if you look, there's little pinholes, so there's going to be another small patch, a few inches high and a few inches long, so it's not too bad. But I'll cut that piece out and do that one at the same time. While I've got the big hole in the side of the chain locker, I'll prep this and get the welder set up, bring the gun in through the side, and I can weld all around the inside of this with more light, more access. So that'll make things a bit easier. But yeah, I'm going to tackle that. The rest of it on this side, I haven't looked that side yet. That's later today or tomorrow. But this side, I will have dealt with every single bad patch in the chain locker, which I'm really pleased about. The next couple of minutes of this video are me explaining where we're at as a family with our plans to move abroad and how we're going to do that kind of financially and logistically, and thanking the people who support us. If you're not interested in that, then skip ahead by this much. YouTube is a funny game. Currently I'm still working full-time with plans of course to quit when we head off sailing. Melissa has quit her job so she can focus on homeschooling Jack, which has been amazing because of course you know he's completely deaf, and with his disability homeschooling is just fantastic for him. So every little bit that we can make through the videos is a help, because apart from anything else this is a very expensive project, even though we're trying to do everything as economically as we possibly can. Now, it's completely free for you to watch these videos. YouTube is a free service. It doesn't cost you a penny to sign up. And if you don't have a YouTube account, I encourage you to make one and subscribe to channels you like, because it really, really helps channels, because the YouTube computer algorithm thing boosts channels with more subscribers. So it does make a real big difference, which is why you often hear people saying, remember to like, comment and subscribe and click the notification bell. It does actually make a difference. So, and we do have adverts on our videos. Now YouTube chooses what those adverts are. We don't have any control over them. So if you see an advert for something that you think, what? We can't control that. The only thing we can control is how frequently they appear. And the amount of money that we make from the YouTube ad revenue is absolutely tiny. It's laughable. Now, we do have a Patreon account. We don't shout about it a lot, but some people have reached out to us and really want to support the project. They want to contribute to what we're doing with Melody and the making of the videos, which is super kind of them, and we never ask for money and we never will. But some people just have said, can we help you out here? So we've made this YouTube the Patron account, sorry, so that people can do that. Now, a lot of channels, as I'm sure you're aware, read out the names of every single patron at the end of every video, and we don't normally do that, but we always put up a list of them. But I just thought this week, for a change, I'm going to drop it in right here, and I'm going to read out the names of every single patron that we've got. There aren't many, but it's just as a real thank you to those of you that support us. It's so appreciated. So here are the names of all of our current patrons, and if you want to become a patron, of course, click the link in the description. We're not asking anybody to, but if you want to support us, you can. So a massive thanks to our patron family: Scott and Sarah, Keith Wignall, Craig Warnock, Doug Lessing, Som Varma, Arthur Verheyen, Susan Woodrum, Paige Greer, Mia Star 2, that's the restoration project, Nirobu, John Adrews, Spadger, Leon Plumakers, Neil Davis, Paul Robinson, William Anderson, Paula Offut, Jean-Charles Thormery, Sarah Epps, Sarah and Timo, Sharon Reynolds, Lady Dewbuild, Robert Freeman, Mike and Caroline Colling, Emilian Picue, Chad McGregor, David Flaherty, Daniel Moore, MV Liberty 2, that's Barb and Ray, Alan Long, Sailing River Song, John Kibula, Thomas Perry, Hans Marius, Kathleen Connors, Ted and Joe Kiefer, Barry Walker, Cornelis van der Bent, Pamela Bennett, David Olson, Maggie and Mac, The Anonymous Trucker, Jeff Altenberg, Eric Nermo, Terry Hamilton, Dennis Small and John Bruce. I'm just going to grind these the back of the old welds and a few other places. I'm going to try and get in there with the air-fed mask on and some ear defenders, because it's unbearable in there. But I don't think I can physically get through the hole with the air-fed mask on. Watch and laugh. I'll just show you what I'm actually doing. This is the old panel that I welded in last year, and on the other side I've welded the inside, but this side I haven't yet. So I'm just grinding a V into this weld on the inside, so that when I come in a minute and weld all the way around this, it's got a nice penetration to the weld. It will burn some of the paint off on the outside, that's fine, but then I can do all of this and down the nose and a few other little jobs before I weld these patches in, and the patches at the minute are giving me some extra daylight. Handy, eh? By the way, Melissa is outside painting, so if I got stuck or in trouble, Melissa would run to the rescue. It would be extremely foolish to do this kind of thing alone on the boat, and I would never do it. Right, come outside and have a look at the state of play. You can hear the needle gun going. Melissa's just getting a few bits. She's a perfectionist, so even though they've shot blasted the underneath of the keel, there's one or two little tiny specks that she's like, oh, they missed a bit here and here. So Melissa is needle gunning those little bits. They are coming back in a day or two, or tomorrow hopefully, to do the underside of this drop keel, the swing keel. So we will actually ask them to go over that area again. That's what I've done, these two holes. So now what I've got to do is get the welding kit out, and I'm going to feed the torch in through the holes that I've made and weld up those bits that I've just been grinding that I was showing you. Limited success with the air-fed mask in the anchor locker. However, progress has been made. All of that welding now has been seamed up on the inside, apart from the patches that I've got to do. There's 2 on the starboard side and probably 2 on the port side, but I'll tackle the port side ones in the morning. Next thing I've got to do is make some cardboard templates so I can cut some steel out to put in those patches. Let's go and do that. That went inside my glove and underneath my fingernail. That's gonna smart. Haven't got time to stop and put water on it though at the minute. Just crack on. Ow. That really hurts. It turns out I hadn't even noticed I'd burnt through the finger of my glove, and a piece of like molten steel went inside my glove and under my fingernail. Ow. Stop moaning, get on with it. I've done one patch on the starboard side, which is the big one. I've done one patch on the port side, which is the big, the other big one. There's a small patch just up there, which is going to be the last one I do. That's going to be the last one I do, because at the minute it's handy to poke things through to work with. And I've fully seam welded everything from the inside as well as the outside, V'd all the welds. So everything in there now has been fully welded, and the last thing to do is replace the stringers that have been corroded and cut out, and then finally do that last patch. And then the big I don't know how to say this, ball ache, we'll bleep that, is going to be the fact that to weld the back side of that patch, we've got to take the welder up and into the boat.
Well, this is the patch he's done this morning.
I have my pieces of angle, which are going to be my new stringers, but I'm actually duplicating them in card because I want to get the angle where they meet into the front of the boat, into the nose and right into the bow and up against the bulkhead, the chain locker bulkhead. So I'm
It's just a welding mask talking to me.
eh?
It's just a welding mask
No,
talking
I've
to
got
me.
my mask up. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. And the reason I'm doing this out here and taking cardboard in is because I could just take these stringers into the boat with a grinder, and do it all up there, but it'll just create so much grinding dust in the boat, and there's already enough.
Andy's doing is a really awkward shape. Well, he's got an awkward curve in the bow of the boat, so he's having to weld a little clamp on it, and then weld a bit, tighten it up, weld a bit, and tighten it up. So that's the last of the holes in the bow of the boat. Still got to do a bit inside.
Yeah, the whole chain locker is now completely done, sorted, everything, stringers, the lot. I've got to weld a tiny little bit of the inside along one of the stringers and the inside of the last patch.
Yeah, so just that bit
that
there.
one, yeah. And then of course grind it all flush and repaint the front end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Done amazing, well done.
Oh, thank you.
Just got to make it look pretty again.
So I spent the next couple of days finishing off the last bits of welding inside and grinding the welds on the outside flush and pretty. I also welded in a new chain plate for the bobstay, which I've actually made as a double plate from 2 pieces of 10mm thick stainless bar, which go right through the nose and weld to the internal stringers. The bobstay chain itself bolts in between them with an M12 pin, so it's phenomenally strong. We often get comments about the fact that we brush paint on the epoxy paint, and there are several reasons that we do that instead of using a roller. Firstly, we found that this particular 2-pack doesn't roll terribly well unless you use a lot of thinners. And secondly, we're following the manufacturer's guidelines, which say if you brush it, you must brush or spray on the first coat to achieve an initial coat of 80 microns. I've got a little device which measures the paint thickness, which I'll show you sometime, but rolling paint on is far too thin for the first coat. And bear in mind, there'll be lots and lots of more coats of this epoxy primer before we get to the top coat stage, and there'll be a heck of a lot of sanding at that point, whether we brush, roll or spray, but that's a little way off yet. Anyway, thanks very, very much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the episode. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. It really, really helps the channel. And click the little notification bell so you don't miss any more episodes. And we'll see you next time on Sailing Melody.